Hey guys, Lee with Mantis Mechanics here to debunk a martial arts street fighting tip here today. And this myth that has got me so worked up about is never throw a punch in a fight. I don't believe this for a second, but you see a lot of people out there saying never punch in a fight. And I'm going to show you why that is not true today. Okay, we have lots of martial arts, from karate to kung fu to boxing to Krav Maga. They all practice punching. And if this is not, these were all made for the streets or for real life. They weren't made for sport. And if this was such an ineffective technique, why would we practice it? Why wouldn't we just practice palm strikes? Why wouldn't, years ago they said, hey, the fist, every time you punch something, your fist is going to shatter to pieces, so let's stop doing it. Okay? The reason why is because it's a very effective technique. Okay, so my first point on why you should punch in a street fight, or why you should sometimes punch in a street fight. I'm not going to say always punch in a street fight. I do like palm strikes. I think they're a very effective weapon, but I'm never going to say always palm strike or always punch. Anytime somebody says always do something or never do something in a fight, they're probably lying to you, because there are no absolutes in life. So the only absolute you could say about it would be always win a fight or never lose a fight. And even that, I don't know anybody personally or out there that has never lost a fight in their life. So my first point is going to be this. When I punch, right, if I throw like a jab, okay, this is my fist, okay, here's my palm. You could see that just by making that palm strike, I lose reach advantage. And reach advantage is very, very important in a fight. Okay, if you can punch and get there versus palm strike and not hit, you'd rather hit than not hit, always. Okay, you just got to learn to make a proper fist, right? Maybe I'll make a video on how to make a proper fist later, but when you punch, you want to make a proper fist. Okay, my second point on why you should punch in a street fight is that when I teach students how to punch, okay, I show them how to make a fist, and then I just let them punch the bag, right, or punch the pads or whatever, right? And I don't warn them about going too hard. I think after maybe 30 seconds, they'll realize that they shouldn't try to punch as hard as they can, because they're going to be out of gas anyways. But not too worried about them injuring themselves, especially on a bag or the pads that are softer. However, with the palm strike, I do take a lot of caution when I teach people the palm strike, because you have to hit properly with the right part of the palm. And if beginners, especially beginners, when they go too hard, too fast, they hurt their wrist, okay? Almost everybody I show them, hey, if you go too hard, you're going to hurt your wrist. And I really do believe that palm strikes are actually more dangerous for injuring yourself than the fist if done improperly. Right? You can kind of get around making a fist improperly and punching, and you might get away with it. But with the palm, there's no room for error. You need to strike properly. So in a street fight where your adrenaline's pumping and it's wild, you may not be thinking about that perfect technique, or maybe you haven't practiced the palm strike enough because you've been practicing punches, because most schools are going to be about punching. You're going to do a lot of punching because it's a good technique. Okay? My third thing, people will say, well, when you punch, your fist is going to shatter and you're going to get injured. Well, that may be true. You can't break your fist punching. You've seen a lot in MMA and boxing where boxers will hit somebody and their hand breaks. But my point would be, so what? Okay, you are going to get injured. If you decide to get into a confrontation, physical confrontation with somebody, you could end up knocked out. You could end up killed. You could end up hurt. Right? That's a real risk of getting into a fight. So I say, don't fight. But if you are going to fight, use the tools that you are used to using. So that means your fist. If you're used to punching all the time, punch. Okay? Don't try to get fancy with palm strikes when you haven't practiced them. Okay? Also, when you're in a fight, your adrenaline's running, you will probably be punching, right? Break your fist and not even know it until you go home, hopefully go home safe, and you realize, oh man, my hand really hurts. Now, some of you might say, hey, well, I saw this so-and-so MMA fight with this guy and he broke his hand and he couldn't continue to fight. Well, if you notice, 9 times out of 10, what happens is that the fighter is punching, breaks his hand, then he goes back to his corner and he realizes that his hand is broke. Sometimes he'll decide to fight through it. Sometimes they'll just call the fight. But either way, it's when they stop fighting that they usually feel that break. Okay? With the adrenaline running, when you're punching hard, a lot of things you don't realize are hurt. Okay? When I've gotten into fights and I've hurt myself, it's usually after the fight that I feel the injury. Okay? Especially something like a broken bone. Right? I broke my elbow in a fight. Guy kicked me with a head kick and I blocked it and he broke my elbow. And I didn't realize it until after I won the fight. And I won the fight and he broke my hand in the first round and I went all 3 rounds that we had to go. No problem. So my point is, you might not realize that your hand is broken until after the fight. And if your hand is broken and you defended yourself successfully, then I would call that a win. I'm not saying that you're in this world where everything's going to be perfect and you're going to fight and it's going to be like a kung fu movie and you're just going to block everything, throw the punch and the guy's going to go down and then you're going to walk off the hero. That's probably not going to happen. Like I said, if you decide to get into a physical confrontation, there's a very real risk that you can get hurt. So again, my 3 points are, with punching, you have more range, you have more reach than with the palm strike. Also, I would say that if you're not used to striking with the palm or you don't do it often, then don't try to do it in a fight because this is a highly skilled technique to not hurt your wrist. Okay, it's very easy to hurt your wrist doing this. Okay? And third, if you do break your fist in the fight, you probably won't even feel it until after the fight is over. So I would love to hear your guys' comments on this. If you disagree with me, let me know. I'd love to talk with you about this. And if you like this video, subscribe for more.